Hello there and welcome to another episode of Mark My Words. This is a show where three of our top football correspondents from around the globe have to show us their award-winning debating skills. There'll be a different theme in every show. We'll have 4 rounds, a new question in every round, and each of the guys and girls have 90 seconds to put across their best possible argument to win the debate. I award the points and we toss up all the points at the end of each episode and at the end of the series as well to decide who the winner will be. And these are our 3 contestants for today. Firstly, in France, Matt Spiro is our expert on Ligue 1 and much else aside. Bonjour to Mr. Spiro once again. Jamie Easton is in Spain, our La Liga expert.
Hello.
And last but not least, Carrie Brown in London is our Premier League correspondent. So the theme I can announce today, guys and girls, is players. We had goals on our last episode, but it's players on this occasion. So a reminder of 4 separate rounds with a new question on each round. I think on this occasion, Carrie, we'll start with you. So for round 1, I want your 90 seconds and your best argument, please, for this question. Who, in your opinion, is the most underrated player in world football right now? I'll go to Jamie and to Matt in a short while, but Carrie, you first up. 90 seconds, please. Underrated. Go for it.
I think if you're looking for the players to bring the pizzazz, to bring the glamour, you're going to look at Mbappe. If you're going to look at history, you're going to look to Lionel Messi. But I think the one player who's the most undervalued, most significant and most important player right now is that of Jordan Henderson. He had to follow in the footsteps of Steven Gerrard, a torrid time as he was coming up to an important and crucial moment in the lead up to the World Cup under Gareth Southgate when he picked up a significant number of caps. Gareth Southgate sat down and said he would be the person coming along to the press conference to be his captain because he believed it was a moment to be recognised, even though he's significantly undervalued. But I don't think he'll be undervalued by the end of this season. Liverpool seemingly running away with the title and will on course to go alongside Arsenal and become invincibles, the first Premier League side to become invincible. But the minute he was injured, the minute his leadership was gone, that Liverpool team didn't just collapse, they fell apart, no longer invincible. He may not be the glamour man, but in terms of leadership, in terms of control, in terms of taking a team all the way to win the Champions League again, just like Steven Gerrard, he's proved he can command magnificence.
I tell you what, he's underrated, there's no doubt about that, but is he the most underrated in the world right now? I'm sure the guys will have their say on that. So Jamie, let's go to you next. The most underrated player in world football right now, in your opinion, please.
Yeah, he's being heavily criticised this season in Barcelona. I'm talking about Sergio Busquets, because everybody demands so much from this team and everybody has their own idols and their own references, like Leo Messi. Obviously, a lot of people think about Xavi, Iniesta, but when Barcelona has won absolutely everything and played their most beautiful football was with Sergio Busquets on the pitch. When the Spanish national team won everything, it was with Sergio Busquets on the pitch. He is the organizer. Everything starts with him. And when Guardiola said that it was very important to have Sergio Busquets with him, that was a risky decision to take because he had Toure Yaya on the team. When Vicente del Bosque said that if he could reincarnate and become a football player again, he would choose Sergio Busquets, is because every single manager that has been able to train Sergio Busquets know how valuable he is. In fact, Kiki Setien, who has just arrived, has said that the 2 most important players are Leo Messi and Sergio Busquets. And all of that we know, but we just see every single best 11 from FIFA, best 11 from UEFA, all the galas of the Ballon d'Or. Sergio Busquets is never there, and that is really unfair for a player that has made and constructed history for Barcelona, for Spain, and everybody admires.
It's a strong argument, a very strong argument when you think what he's achieved across his career, perhaps underrated throughout the last decade. You could make an argument for Sergio Busquets. Let's see what Matt Spiro's got to say on the most underrated player in world football right now, Matt.
Yeah, look, I think Carrie and Jamie have both got good arguments. I don't want to attack my opponents here, but I think it's no surprise they've both gone with defensive midfielders because historically these are, they are important guys. and the likes of Didier Deschamps, more recently in France, Thiago Motta, they don't perhaps get the credit they deserve. But I'm going for a striker, the centre forward of the best team or the most successful team of the last decade, and yet Karim Benzema doesn't get the credit that he deserves. If Cristiano Ronaldo won 4 Ballon d'Ors during his time at Real Madrid and became the club's leading goal scorer, it is so much thanks to Karim Benzema, his selfless movement, the fact that he's happy to stay in the shadows and to effectively serve Ronaldo's ego and his statistics and feed Ronaldo. And since Ronaldo moved to Juventus, no surprise, Karim Benzema has stepped up the plate. His goal-scoring ratio has gone up. This guy, Jordan Henderson, he's done well. He's won 1 Champions League trophy. Karim Benzema has won 4 Champions League trophies. He has scored 64 goals in the Champions League, more than Alfredo Di Stefano. Only Raul, Messi and Ronaldo have scored more than him. He's way ahead of Thierry Henry, who played pretty much the same number of Champions League games, only scored 50 goals in the competition. He has, he's won 4 Ligue 1 titles by the age of 21 with Lyon, a Coupe de France. No French footballer has won more trophies than Karim Benzema. 162 goals, by the way, in the Spanish La Liga, 338 matches. He's been Real Madrid's number 9 for almost 11 seasons.
Can I say something to Matt?
Yeah. Yes, of course, Jamie, go ahead.
I've seen Karim Benzema throughout all these years, and I just grabbed one sentence he said. He's happy to stay in the shadows, and that is what he has done for all his life. And he's chosen that in Madrid and in the national team of France because of
It's our job to recognise that, Jamie.
So I don't know if that is the correct answer for this question. Sorry, man.
Okay. I will take your points on board, Jamie. And I have to say, I think they're 3 really good answers because I think they're all underrated players. I think they probably like that in a way. I think that's probably the makeup of the personalities of all 3 players, of Jordan Henderson, Karim Benzema and Sergio Busquets, all underrated. But I'm going to give the point on this occasion to Jamie Easton and to Sergio Busquets, who, as I say, I think has been underrated probably for the past decade. There's no doubting that the other 2 are right up there as well. It was a really good opening argument, but for what he's achieved across so many years and just stayed under the radar.
Do you think if Sergio rolled about on the floor a bit less, was that a bit controversial to say that? No, wonderful player,
like
underrated.
Mourinho. It's like episode
sometimes.
1. What's happening to you with referees, with complaining? Come on, man.
You know what, Spiro? You are better than this. You are better. Focus on your own game, not that of others. Okay, let's crack on with round 2 of Mark My Words. Don't forget a different question in every round that the guys have 90 seconds to give us their best argument for the best, or the player you think, Jamie, that has the highest transfer value in world football right now. Jamie.
Well, I'm glad to start with this one, Matt, because I think the answer is pretty clear here. It's Kylian Mbappé. Probably one of the best players right now, but he's meant to be the star player in the future, not only for PSG. We'll see if he stays there. Florentino Perez wants to sign him for Real Madrid. It's his biggest dream, and we all know that Mbappé could end up his career playing in Madrid, but he will be the star of world of football. All the people that have seen him play live on TV compare him with Ronaldo Nazario. They say that he's meant to be the next superstar, the next Ballon d'Or. So that's why all the teams want to sign him. And I just checked this morning on a website called Transfer Market, which gives the reference of what player's value is right now. Kylian Mbappé, 180 million euro. The second is Neymar with 128 million euro. And Leo Messi comes then. Cristiano Ronaldo is only worth 60 million euro. And then there's Haaland, which probably for age could compete with Kylian Mbappé in the next winter transfer markets. But Haaland is now 72 million euro worth. So Kylian Mbappé is meant to be the most expensive player, not only in the next transfer window, but in the next maybe 20 transfer windows.
Yeah, it's a very difficult argument to go against, I have to say, because Kylian Mbappé is a top player, probably one of the best in world football, and his age certainly counts for him in this particular one. So, Matt Spiro, can you beat that? The player who has the highest transfer value right now in world football, in your opinion?
Yes, Matt, of course I can beat that. The problem with Kylian Mbappé, and I love him, fantastic player, but I'm concerned that he's actually already peaked. 21 years of age. I feel he's going a bit Anelka. He scored 33 goals in Ligue 1 last year in 24 games. This year, he's only managed 18 in 17 games. I say only, He's doing very well, but you look at the package. I'll talk about my player in a moment.
You're nervous. You don't know how to follow.
You look at the overall package. Kylian's all about speed. Once he loses that speed or loses that half a yard, and he has had a few hamstring injuries, and I hope he doesn't lose it for France's sake, for PSG's sake. But Erling Haaland is the complete striker. He's the closest we've seen to Marco van Basten. He's 19 years of age. He's approaching his peak now, and that is why his value, I think, has to be even higher than Kylian Mbappe's. And we all saw the PSG Dortmund game in Germany, the first leg, when both players were playing, because Kylian didn't play in the second leg. But in the first leg, Haaland was just unbelievable. He's got 12 Champions League goals in 11 games now. No, that's his record in the Bundesliga. 10 Champions League goals in 9 games. More than a goal a game in the Bundesliga with Dortmund. And he's just a beast, a 19-year-old who just looks like, he can eat defences alive. And I think with Mbappe, you deny him space, Mbappe, he doesn't do very much. Haaland can destroy defence on his own.
Jamie, I suppose I should give you the right to reply here, really.
Yeah, Matt Spiro spent like half of the time for his answer to just criticise Mbappe. So it's just okay.
Can destroy defence on his own.
Jamie, I suppose I should give you the right to reply.
And you just spent half of the time criticising the other. Okay, Matt Spiro, it was a pleasure to compete.
No, because Jamie, take that as a compliment to you, because I regard Mbappe as certainly, one of them and a big rival in terms of the most valuable player. I was just explaining why Haaland is working.
Okay, without spaces, he's nobody. That's what he understood. Yeah, nice, nice try.
Okay, let's keep this clean. I've warned you two before about this behaviour. Let's go to Carrie.
I think if you're really going to go for a transfer market, honestly, if every player was up there, every player was available, and one player was the greatest in living history that's only spent his whole career at one club, Mexican club, Barcelona, and is suddenly very unhappy, even at the age of 32. 32, coincidentally, the number of trophies he's won, including 4 Champions Leagues, then I've got to say the most valuable player, should the moment come on the market, still remains Lionel Messi, 32 years old, a mere 627 goals in 718 games. And while he appears to be waning to some, let's not forget Lionel Messi when he does have a drop in form. It's when he's unhappy, it's when he starts demanding rebuilding from his team. We've seen it every big manager that leaves, and then we see Messi come back to his best and his aplomb. If Messi gets on the market, he will go for the highest bidder.
Leo Messi is probably the greatest player that's ever lived. At 32, how much would that take off his transfer value right now? Haaland has come from nowhere, really, hasn't he? From, no one had really heard of him a year ago, and now look at him. He's gone to Dortmund, and there's probably talk of him being worth 150, maybe even more million euros.
200,
and as
200
Jamie
plus,
said,
Matt, 200 plus.
I'm talking now, and Jamie Easton went with Kylian Mbappe as well. I'm going to give the point to... I'm going to give it to Jamie. I don't think you can argue against Kylian Mbappe, World Cup winner, Paris Saint-Germain. It could well go to Real Madrid. Who knows in the future at some stage? We just do not know. But his value, I think, is higher than those two other players at this stage. So once again, the point goes to Jamie Easton. Right, on with round 3 of Mark My Words. And the question for our 3 global correspondents is this. The player who, in their opinion, never truly fulfilled their potential. So the player across world football, across the ages, that had all the potential in the world that didn't quite fulfill that potential. We'll start with Matt Spiro. 90 seconds on the clock, please. Matt, over to you.
Well, it was interesting to hear Carrie talking about a 32-year-old perhaps being the most valuable player in the world. I'm going to pick a 32-year-old as the guy who just hasn't quite done it. He's just this week being told that he's not going to get a new contract with Anderlecht. Samir Nasri, this guy came through the ranks at Marseille, and from a very young age was just worshipped in Marseille. He was going to be the new Zidane. And I remember watching him back in 2006, 2007 when he broke through and thinking, wow, this guy plays with his head up. He's got incredible technique, incredible presence. He is going to be at the heart of the French national team for the next 10, 15 years. And frankly, he should have been. What happened to Samir? I don't know. I don't want to go in with, speculating about the makeup of this person, but something has stopped him from becoming a great, great footballer. We saw under Arsene Wenger for a while what he was capable of, but again, he decided to move on to Manchester City. He was a peripheral figure at Manchester City. Now, if you look at what's happened to Nasri in the last 4 years, he went to Seville. They didn't want to keep him. He went to Antalyaspor in Turkey. He then got a doping ban in 2018, went to West Ham, and he's in Anderlecht playing in Belgium this season. I mean, this guy should have been. He played 41 times for France before falling out with everyone, journalists, Deschamps, players. Apparently the whole world is against Samir Nasri, but unfortunately, if he'd have actually looked at himself, focused, had maybe more humility, I don't know, I don't want to be too harsh, but Samir, you should have been a great.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very, very good player, Samir Nasri. Won league titles here in England with Manchester City, as you mentioned there, and trophies with Arsenal as well. His career has petered off, though, hasn't it, in the last few years? So it's a pretty strong argument. Carrie, can you beat it?
Alexis Sanchez has destroyed what could have been one of my fondest moments pitch side. I was at the Allianz Arena in the Champions League during the warm-up, just finished my live, and the ball comes to me pitch side. In my heels, kick it back to Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil, who pass it back 1-2. Alexis Sanchez looks over his shoulder, looks at Mesut. They both give me an approval, a nice nod. That would have been a great story for two players who were mercurial together, who could really turn on the moments in the big derbies. But then this happened. He had the chance to go to Manchester City to join Pep Guardiola. But remember, Jose Mourinho had just joined Old Trafford, and what would be better than to pip Pep Guardiola to Alexis Sanchez in the transfer market? They went for the big bucks, and so did Alexis Sanchez. Anyone that has been working behind the scenes at Arsenal knows what a troublemaker he is. He's never going to be happy. If he's in a team and not surrounded by stars, the team around him are just not good enough. If he's in a dressing room of stars or big egos, as he was at Old Trafford, then he's not special enough. And so it proved. The biggest and most expensive signing in that transfer window, put in the reserves by Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a remarkable 32 games played and just 3 goals. The greatest excitement we saw from him was his arrival at the Carrington training ground. The only thing he's fondly held an affection from both sets of fans at Arsenal and Manchester United are his 2 dogs on Instagram, a crying shame.
Yeah, but again, we have to say he has won major trophies, Alexis Sanchez, so has he reached his potential?
He was brilliant for Arsenal, Matt. Sorry, I'm talking over you again. Sorry about that.
No, it's not a problem.
Just his dogs. He was brilliant for Arsenal.
I will give my assessment at the end of the round. Let's everybody have the opportunity to speak. So let's go to Jamie Easton. 90 seconds, please, Jamie, on the player who, in your opinion, never quite fulfilled that potential that they showed.
The thing is that I have a player that it had his moment of absolute joy. He won the FIFA World Player when he was aged 23. I'm talking about Ronaldinho Gaúcho. He arrived to Barcelona in a pretty destroyed club. Laporta won the elections, everything had to be changed. Barcelona was not even playing Champions League. Ronaldinho arrived to the Catalan capital. I still remember how everything changed in the mood of the Barca fans when they saw what he was capable of on the pitch. It was 2.5 wonderful years, absolutely marvelous years. If you just keep asking Barcelona fans who were the most impressed or what player has impressed them the most, more of them will pick Ronaldinho probably than Leo Messi, because what he did on the pitch, I haven't seen anything like that in my entire life. The problem is what he chose for his life. He just enjoyed to party too much, and when Guardiola arrived, he said, okay, I do not want Ronaldinho on my team, I do not want Deco on my team, because Messi could get harmed because of that. Ronaldinho ended in Milan, he went then to Brazil, he then went to Mexico, he returned to Brazil. Do you know where Ronaldinho is right now? In a prison in Paraguay. He could have become the world's greatest player ever, and now he's nothing at all. Very sad story for Ronaldinho.
I think in the interest of balance and fairness, I think we should point out, I think Ronaldinho may have just been released from prison somewhere in South America, so hopefully he's keeping his nose clean, so to speak, from now on in. But you know what? I just have a slight issue with Ronaldinho, because I think although he was perhaps could have been one of the world's best ever, I think he was still very, very good, very, very good indeed. And I kind of make the same argument.
He won the World Cup.
Make the same argument, and I do make the same argument with Alexis Sanchez. Okay, he has tapered off in the past 2 years, but as Matt Spiro said, he was fantastic at Arsenal, has won international tournaments with Chile, and you think about the Copa America that he's led his country to on a couple of occasions. So I'm going to give the point on this occasion, even though I think there are faults in the argument to Samir Nasri, who I said had won the league with Manchester City and had been a really good player in his time. I'm going to give the point to Matt Spiro on this occasion for his answer of Samir Nasri. Right, our final round in each and every episode of Mark My Words is titled Fact or Fiction. The guys have to tell me a story related to today's theme, which is of course players. All I have to do is work out if they're telling the truth or a white lie. If I get it right, no points for them. If they trick me, it's 2 points on offer. So we'll go back to Carrie to start us off. 90 seconds on the clock for your fact or fiction story on players.
We're talking about players and have they really ever reached their true potential? Could they have done more off the field? Could they have focused a little harder to make sure they got the best out of themselves on the pitch? And I think one of those players was Andy Carroll, so mercurial, so important for Newcastle, but then he really didn't go on to truly fulfil his potential. And one moment really stands out for me in his career, and it was very telling of him. It was in the tunnel at Upton Park, one of their last few matches as the season kicked down. Bilic facing Pochettino, two teams that have clashed so often. And it was a pre-match moment that really took me by surprise. You often see players warming up, stretching, talking to the coach, getting some incentives. Often we're not privy to this, but it was the moment that Andy Carroll's partner came down to check that his hair plait was still in place before he went onto the pitch to check in a cute detail that really did come as a surprise to me and made me wonder if Andy Carroll should have paid a little more attention to his football than his haircuts.
Now, this is a very difficult one, because I have had some time. I know Andy Carroll to a certain degree, having spent some time interviewing him over the past few years, and he is a very genuine lad, but perhaps not the sharpest tool in the box. Hopefully I don't insult him by saying that. So would he be able to do his own hair? I could kind of see that happening in a weird sort of way. So I'm going to say, Carrie, that is fact.
It's a fact. It was too good not
yes,
to care.
Yes.
It was a braid to the side, and she just tweaks it in, and I just thought, but have I just seen what I've seen? But yeah, pre-match.
Now, to be fair, if it's a braid, we can understand, because they're not easy to do, are they? They're not easy to do, those braids. But yeah. Anyway, it's a good story, a very good story. Thank you for sharing that one with us. But points, well, no points for you, points to me, but I'm not in the quiz. So let's carry on with Jamie Easton. 90 seconds for fact or fiction, Jamie.
Well, we all know what football players like. It is to get tattoos. We know Messi got a tattoo from the hand of his son. He didn't like it, so he just painted his leg on black. We know Mauro Icardi has full of tattoos. But I was in Colombia last summer, traveling around South America, and I just discovered a wonderful story. He's called Freddy Inestroza. He's from Medellin, but he actually played in Bogota for his team, Junior, and they won the last league edition. The problem was that he was one of the most euphoric players celebrating that trophy, and when he was lifting the trophy, the fans discovered he had a tattoo of their arch rivals, of the team from Medellin, and he was explaining to all the fans that he had all his chest tattooed with all the teams he has played for. So the list is Nacional in Medellin, La Equidad also in Colombia. He played in Spain, so he has also the badges of Getafe, Zaragoza. He has the badge of Santos in Mexico too. So he has full of badges tattooed. So the controversy was a little bit low, but because of the fans were so outraged, they just demanded the president to tell the player that he had to remove the national tattoo because he's a player for junior right now.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. You think about players' tattoos, you're right, they like them. You can see that happened. I'm going to go for fact. Jamie, tell me it's a fact.
No, it's fiction. He was never told to remove that tattoo, but he has his body plenty of tattoos of all the badges of the team. But he had to add some spicy stuff, Matt.
He did, and you managed to trick me. You did very well once again. Well done to Jamie Easton. Let's finish with Matt Spiro for today. 90 seconds on fact or fiction.
It is so hard to tell if Jamie's telling the truth or not. It's one of the problems I've had with Jamie through the years. But he's very deceptive. But I'm going to try and be as convincing. I'm going to talk about a man who actually works with us at beIN Sports here in France. A wonderful footballer in his day called Sonny Anderson. He played for Brazil. He played for Barcelona. One issue that he had was that he was slightly behind Ronaldo in the national team and at Barcelona, but in France he was absolutely unbelievable. And going on from what Carrie was talking about with haircuts, he had a big influence because Thierry Henry was a young French striker coming through the ranks at Monaco when Sonny Anderson was Monaco's main striker, and Thierry absolutely worshipped Sonny Anderson. He was just an unbelievable striker. So Thierry shaved his head and tried to look like Sonny Anderson. He wore his shirt tucked into his shorts like Sonny, and he also pulled his socks up over his knees. Now Thierry Henry became famous for wearing his socks up over his knees, and that was all because he used to sit, basically, because he was training with the youth team, he used to sit watching the first team play and watching Sonny Anderson. And one day Sonny said to Thierry, listen, you're only a kid, but come along, train with us for a bit. And Sonny taught him everything he knows, basically, including that famous finish, opening up the body, curling it in. So today, when you see Thierry, you see all those videos of Henry scoring all those goals with his socks around his knees, you know that the inspiration behind it all was a certain Sonny Anderson, beIN Sports.
Okay. I mean, I remember Sonny Anderson, Barcelona, Monaco. Wonderful player, as you said, but I can see. I'm struggling, but I'm going to say fact.
Yeah, I'm not as good a liar, am I, as Jamie? That's the problem. Yes, a fact.
Yeah, I could see right through that one. Jamie is very good at it, it has to be said. But I'm glad to get the better of you on that particular occasion. Okay, there we have it, the end of another episode of Mark My Words. Let's have a look at the scores both today and overall. Our winner today was Jamie Easton with 4 points, second Matt Spiro with a point, and last but not least Carrie Brown didn't score today and is overall bottom, but with work to do with 3 points. Matt Spiro in second place overall with 5 points, and Jamie Easton is our leader at this stage with 6 points, but a long way to go. Plenty of points on offer over the coming episodes. We look forward to your company for that. My thanks to Carrie, to Jamie and to Matt Spiro for all of their company today, and we'll see you again very soon for another episode of Mark My Words.